What's going on, everybody? LK here, back at it again with another video, and today some Dragon Ball FighterZ for y'all. So we're getting closer. I've been working on putting together a tier list for season 3 that I want to reveal on Twitch and YouTube, but in the meantime we'll keep on going with the character reviews, right? And today I want to talk about a character that is pretty close to me, my favorite character in this game and in Dragon Ball in general, that is Trunks. As usual, if you like the content I've been putting out, consider liking this video or subscribe to the channel if you already have not, or do both. It does help the channel grow and I really do appreciate it. Thank you so much. So before we actually talk about Trunks, let me get to the point of why I even play him in the first place. I did say he's my favorite character, but we have to jump back all the way to the closed beta or open beta of the game. Open beta, actually. So at that time, I played this team, which led to this team. And honestly, looking at this team today, it looks like a pretty decent team. But we figured that Kid Buu was really strong, like top tier. 18 fell off pretty quick. SSJ Goku fell off in favor of SSJ Vegeta. And then a friend recommended me to swap out SSJ Goku for Trunks. After I played a couple of strong 16 players as well, I ended up with this team. So you guys have memed me a bit on this channel. There was one question I got from the Q&A where someone was like, who would you marry, who would you have sex with, and who would you kill between Guilty Gear, Grand Blue Fantasy, and Dragon Ball? And I was like, oh, I'd kill Dragon Ball, like no hesitation. I got memed for that a bunch, but the truth is, when this game came out, I really, and I've said this in other videos too, I really had problems playing this game. I had a lot of issues, and I didn't really know how stuff worked, or like why people were doing the things they were doing. And it wasn't really until I played Trunks where not only did things start to come together with how to actually play the game, but also the game was fun to play. What's funny too is that looking back, I actually had a lot of the same problems that many people have now, and these things for me are not problems anymore, but they're like mild complaints, like, you know, jumping being as strong as it is, and how the knockdown system works, etc, etc. But all things considered, the first time people really started talking about Trunks was when Moke, the season 1 Trunks god, rated him extremely highly, and Kazunoko had Trunks as a top 5 character in season 1, but with the little asterisk of Moke's Trunks is top 5. So that's, you know, the player kind of bought him out. But starting in season 2, one of his really huge issues, and this was one of the big issues I had with him in season 1, he couldn't do things by himself. He needed assist to do stuff, so he wasn't really encouraged to do a lot of things because you needed to save an assist for it. In season 2, he got a bunch of things that let him function solo really easy. So for example, this combo that we're all really used to seeing, he used to not get a sliding knockdown. Like, he used to not even be able to combo like this alone. This is all stuff from season 2. So seeing that he changed in this way, that he had way better solo functionality, I picked him back up again in season 2, really hopeful and thinking he was really strong. Now, his biggest issue in season 2 is not so much about him as a character. So in season 2, he's a very strong character. The issue with him is that he's very greedy, and the main reason lies in his assist. Well, we're very familiar with this. This is a change of future assist. It's a very strong neutral assist, but it's not really complete. So for example, the block stun is really low. They lowered the hit stun a little bit, so you can still combo off it, but it's a little bit harder than it was after Evo. So not that many characters can use this well in a general sense. It has really good specific usage, especially because it beats Ki Blast, and it could catch people in the air, but it doesn't go full screen, so someone who's used to it can just kind of float away. And if you don't have our good buddy Larry, then you can't use the assist very well in a general sense. So for example, if you do have a nice moving kick or Larry, you can do things like this, and you can trap across the screen. If you miss and they're in the air, you'll catch them anyway. It's really good. But again, not all characters have this. So what ends up happening in season 2 is that even though he's a very good character when you look at him alone, there are not that many combinations of characters you could play him with effectively. Which now brings us to Season 3. So they went out of their way to address this issue because I think they understand this. And again, I've said this many times, I really do feel like the main theme of Season 3 is that the devs want the general populace of the players of the game to feel like they can play any character. And I do feel like they did a good job. The way they did this with Trunks is they made 2 major changes to him. So one, if we go back to the assist, this was his major issue as far as team building, not as far as the character in Season 2, is they gave him a beam assist. So Trunks has a really nice complete assist set. So he has Change of Future for people who want to like play Bardock and run around and whiff Larry and do CTF. He has a beam for general usage, so he could support a lot of characters, and he has a 50 frame block stun assist for his C assist. So if for some reason you don't want to play Kid Buu A or Gotenks A or Bardock B or any of those, and you still want to play Trunks, then you have a block stun option if you want. Now, the other thing that they did is that they changed his flip. So another thing about him was that, and this is still kind of the case, his flip mix-up is not universal. It really depends on the assist, how it pushes you, how much block stun it has, etc. There was a cap on how much block stun you needed last patch. I believe it was like 22 or 23 frames, but now they made it so that you could steer this not just left, right, but also up and down. So now you could do mix-ups with basically any assist besides his own, and obviously he can't use his own assist to do mix-ups, and I believe it's Frieza B, which has the lowest block stun in the game right now. Again, you do have to practice this with your own assist, but he could pretty much, there is a way with your assist, you just have to find it. So this is a character that's basically been buffed over and over and over again because the devs really want you to use him, but despite that, people don't really use him. So in Season 1, you know, we had like your adult Gohans, your Android 16, your SJ Vegeta, so Trunks was kind of a sleeper pick. In Season 2, I was really preaching hard for his character, and I thought his character was like S- in Season 2, the only issue being his greed. The thing was, it was really, really hard to place him on the team. In Season 3, a lot of people picked him up at the beginning of the season, but I think people quickly found a couple of things about him that would, like, let's say, gatekeep you from playing the character. So what are these things? So one would be, of course, you need to figure out how to do mix-ups with him on your own. If you play something that someone else plays, you could watch them and copy their mix-up. So for example, like I have Armball of Kid Buu. This has been labbed to death. There are many people who play Kid Buu Trunks. So if you play Kid Buu Trunks and you're using Armball assist, you can literally just go on Twitter and take any of the million mix-ups that people have, right? But let's say Android 16A, if you use that for some reason, people aren't really using that, so you'd have to figure out a way to do it on your own there. This brings me to point number 2. A lot of the things that are strong about this character are not obvious. So I talked about this in my previous video from Wednesday about how high-level players of the game look at the game compared to your standard player. So if you take a character like Kid Buu here, Kid Buu has a lot of stuff that is obviously good and you know it's unique. So for example, he has the Stomp, he can attack you from full screen. He has a Hopping Ki Blast that can bring you to the ground. He has this type of neutral structure that can force you to the ground. He can call an assist. If you block this and block a high blocks and assist, he gets a high-low. It's very, very, very direct. If you are jumping near him, he can anti-air grab you. All these tools are very strong and strong in a direct way. Now Trunks, they gave Trunks a lot of special properties on his moves, but they're not so obvious unless you really dig into how the system works and how it applies to him. So more straightforward things would be things like his Ki Blast and CTF. So of course these moves beat Ki Blast, so your opponent has to be pretty careful about doing their standard neutral structure. Ki Blasts are pretty strong in the game, so him having multiple ways to beat them is really good. On top of that, one of his main weaknesses since the game has come out are that these 2 tools are actually pretty hard to hit confirm. But if you're using them against Ki Blasts, since there's a special animation when you clash, it's very, very, very easy to see that, and it's easier to hit confirm. Another thing would be about his frame data. This is something I touched on Wednesday as well, but he has unsafe medium moves. Most characters have at least one move that's safe on block as a medium. Some characters have multiple. I've used base Vegeta as an example before, but like say in Broly's case, like this is -5 for some reason. It's probably because he's tall. But this is, since he's hitting you with his whole entire chest, it's -11. In Trunks' case, both of his mediums are unsafe, but if you combine them with flips, you could make them plus. Even though you're traveling away from the opponent, you're still advantageous, and you can attack them from neutral and then either go back in again, go back to neutral, etc. So you can like weave in and out in a really tricky way. There are a bunch of implications for this. So one, your unsafe normals are now safer. In the case of using even an EX move, if they guard cancel this, you can actually steer to the ground and hit their guard cancel before it reaches you. So here's a simple example of this. Another implication of this is what it means when you don't have assists. So as we know, they changed how assist regeneration works in this patch. You have to, as a simple rule, give the opponent the ability to tag before you can get your assist back. But in this case, as we can see here, he's already gaining his assist back. I could of course choose to move back in. I don't have to use JS. I could do a bunch of things after I do that flip, but it's enough time that I could get my assist back. He has multiple moves I could do besides flip. Now, another nice thing about flip is what it means for combos. So of course we all know that using assist in combos add damage. So this is the standard BNB. I just made that up. I could probably do a little bit more. It's like 3.4. His normal universal BNB here will do a little bit less, but with the use of EX flip in this combo, you can add a little bit more damage and get close to doing the equivalent of using an assist, even though you don't have an assist. This doesn't show so much in light starters, but when you use heavier starters and use a little bit more resources, including Vanish, you can get up to 4 jumps in a combo. And even though you're spending bar and assist are both resources, so it makes them flexible with adding damage. Here's a quick example of that combo. So as a disclaimer, I don't use that combo that much. It comes up pretty rarely, but when I don't have assists and I have the extra bar and I'm trying to cash out, it's definitely something that I go for. So another example of a subtle thing that he has is with combos, and I discussed this in Trunks combos and when to use them. He is the only character in the game that has a practical medium auto combo. When you do his standard 5M, 2M into change of future, they bounce off the wall like this, but if you use the medium auto combo, they bounce off the wall, which gives you the opportunity to combo from much further than you would normally. So probably the absolute max distance is like here, but if I did the same with the normal CTF, it probably would not reach, or barely. You get a little bit more push. It's kind of hard to position, but for the most part, it is much easier if you use the medium auto combo. This also makes it so that even though he has a re-jump, you don't really need to do them. So I know a lot of you, I know a lot of y'all out there kind of have problems with that type of combo. I don't really use the Trunks re-jump basically ever. For the most part, I either use the universal combo, or I do an assist extension, or I use the medium auto combo to carry to the corner. The other nice thing about it is that you basically get to do corner damage from mid-screen, which is a definite privilege. So there are more examples of things like this where it's like little things that he could use. There's also things about like Shining Slash where there's like little nuances that make them move better than it seems, but a lot of these just take research into the character. I don't think he's as greedy as he was before, but he still does require some specific team building. He's a little bit more flexible than he used to be, but I think a combination of he still does require certain partners to be effective, and a lot of his things aren't so straightforward, are the main reasons why people still aren't really feeling him despite him being really strong. So personally, I think this season he's pretty much a top 10 character in my opinion. He has like basically everything you need in the game. He doesn't have that many flaws, and honestly the main issues he has is that he's just doesn't work well with all the characters. There's some example of characters like say Bardock, where on the one hand you could say, well, Bardock is really strong, but it's hard to mix people up for the most part unless you have a certain amount of blocks done. So there's that thing. But he gives characters so much, and he has a really strong and really simple, obviously good toolset. Where Trunks has a really good toolset, it's not that obvious, and you can't use him with like everybody. You can use him with way more characters than before because of the Masenko assist, but you have to make sure that he is giving and receiving. This has always been his problem in the game overall, is that he only gives, he doesn't get a lot. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. This is the character I probably spend the most time on. As far as base Vegeta, a lot of stuff I work on is just combos, honestly, and you know, there's of course labbing with him, but I spend probably the most time researching like Trunks, because his moveset offers a lot, but it's not obvious. And there's also that balance of like how hard it is to do something, right? There are some people who are like, your Trunks is so OD, your Trunks is so OD. And my good friend, New Jersey Sage 908, is also a very good Trunks player. He's more technical than I am with him. He's willing to do like harder stuff. So that's like another issue people have. Some of the things that people share are too hard to do consistently. So it's like you gotta find that balance between like this thing is good and like this thing is doable. So you might be thinking, since this is the end of the video, why didn't you talk about Sparking Trunks? Because honestly, when you talk about Sparking Trunks, you're usually talking about him as an anchor. As far as his position, he's a support, of course, but at this point, everyone knows he's good at Sparking. If he's in Sparking and he touches you, he's really going to mess you up with mix-ups that you can't block. We all know this. As usual, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to leave them in the comment section below. Like and subscribe if you feel like it, and I'll see you next time. Peace out.